Good morning. This is Dan Larson, and this is today's Quiet Echo. I sat with two people in my office this week who could not make peace. I am not going to tell you who they are or what the quarrel was about. It is not mine to tell, and it does not matter to what I want to say this morning. I will tell you only this much. They are good people, both of them, and they both knew sitting there they ought to put the thing down. If you had asked either one of them how to do it, each could have told you, chapter and verse. They knew what. They knew the how. They sat in my office, and they would not move. I have sat on my side of this desk a long time now, and I have learned you cannot make two people lay a thing down. You can open the door. You cannot walk them through it. So I sat with them, and I listened, and I watched the door stay shut. I drove home thinking about the gap, not the gap between the two of them, the gap inside each of them between knowing the right thing and being able to do it. It is the oldest gap there is. Every one of us has stood on the near side of it knowing exactly what we ought to do and not doing it. Most of us are not short on the what. These days the news is full of the hope for peace. Far away in cities most of us will never see, men sit at long tables and try to end a war, and the whole world watches and prays they find a way. Closer to home, President Nelson, near the end of his life, said it as plainly as it can be said. He said, "I urge you to choose to be a peacemaker now and always." And the Savior, long before him, standing on a hillside, blessed the peacemakers outright. Now there are answers to the how, and President Nelson gave good ones. Do not return contention for contention. Choose to be reconciled even when you would rather be right. Let the last hard word in a room belong to the other person and not to you. I have given counsel like it 100 times in this calling. I gave it again this week in my office to two good people who already knew every word of it, and it did not move them an inch, because the how is powerless without the why, and the why is the thing we almost never say out loud. We love the first half of the Savior's sentence. Blessed are the peacemakers. We carve it onto plaques. We read it at funerals. And we stop right there as though the blessing were the peace itself. But the sentence does not stop there. Read the whole of it. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Hear what he did not say. He did not promise the peacemaker peace. He did not say the quarrel would end. He did not say you would get your way, or the other person would finally come around and see it the way you see it. He promised something else entirely. He promised you would be called a child of God. You do not lay the quarrel down to win the quarrel. You lay it down to become a child of your Father. And there is no other way in. I have read those words most of my life. I am not certain I understood them until this week, watching two good people refuse the very thing waiting to make them more than they already were. President Nelson told a story once from his years as a young surgeon. A doctor working beside him lost his temper in the operating room and flung a scalpel, and it struck President Nelson in the arm. He carried the small scar from it for the rest of his life, and he wondered many years later whether the germs on the blade were any more poisonous than the contention we carry around in our own hearts and call righteousness. I have carried this story with me all week. Here is what it tells me. The venom of a quarrel lands first in the one who keeps it. The grudge you will not set down is doing its quiet damage to you, not to the other person to you. And so the day you finally make peace, the very first person you heal is yourself. I have watched it happen more times than I can count in this calling. Someone lets go of a grievance they have carried for 20 years, and it is the one who let go who walks out of the room lighter. The peace did little for the other person. It did everything for the one who made it. Now, the peace the world is hoping for is a different thing from this. The world's peace is a treaty. It is a ceasefire. It is a quarrel run out of fuel at last. And it is worth praying for. I pray for it. But the Savior was careful to mark the difference himself. "My peace I give unto you," he said, "not as the world gives." The world's peace is the absence of a fight. His peace is the presence of something in you the fight cannot reach. You do not make peace because it works. Half the time in this life it will not. The other person may never soften. The quarrel may outlive you. You make peace anyway because of who it makes you. So if there is a quarrel you are carrying this morning, a grudge, a coldness, a name you have stopped letting yourself say, do not wait for the other person to move first. Do not wait until you are sure it will work. Set it down this morning for the sake of who you are becoming. The world is waiting on its treaty. You do not have to wait on yours. Cedar Valley News has a group on Facebook. If you have something to add, you are welcome there. Tell us about a peace someone once made in your life, or one you are trying to make now. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Dan Larson, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series, written by Evan Swenson, publisher, and Claude Marshall, a developmental editor. While the people and town of Cedar Valley are fictional, President Russell M. Nelson and his call to be peacemakers are real.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.